Dune, Dune, Dune. Literally, 3 Dunes. We're going to talk about them, review them. So please, stay tuned.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella here from Meeple University. Welcome and thank you for joining us. We are just hiding behind all the Dune boxes here.
Yes.
So this time we are going to give you the overview and compare, well, not really compare because they're really different games,
Yes.
to some degree compare and tell you what we think of these 3 Dunes. So
Yes, so
we have...
what we have here is Dune Imperium, which we're not reviewing outright here, but what we then have is the Rise of Ix expansion.
We talk about it a little bit. We'll
So
talk
we're
about
gonna
it.
talk about Rise of Ix.
Correct?
Then we have House Secrets over here, and we have Dune, a game of conquest and diplomacy.
That's the one.
So we'll take you through all 3 of these new Dune releases.
And let's get to it. So the first one is Dune, of course, Dune, a game of conquest and diplomacy.
Yes, so this game is, you would call it a quick war game, a very quick war game. It only plays over 5 turns. And it is based on the classic and well-known long Dune board game. So the one that came out back in the 80s. I think there was a re-release of it a couple of years ago. It is based on the same mechanisms as that. We have not played that one, by the way, so we can't directly compare other than what we've researched. But it is based on a lot of the mechanisms from that, but quick.
Quite quick.
Simplest
particularly
way to
a war
describe it.
game.
So it's a 30 to 60 minute game. Plays 2 to 4 players, and you'll each have one of the factions, and they're all the factions that we're familiar with from most of the Dune games and things that come out.
The movie, sorry, I was just going to say, and especially the movie.
Yep. And over a series of 5...
I should say this new movie.
Yep. So over 5 potential turns, there are 7 phases in each turn, most of which is stuff happening to the board. So fundamentally, the game is an area control game over the 5 strongholds on the map. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you hold the majority of those at the end of rounds 3, 4, or 5, you win the game. Meaning if you hold 3 of them. If no one does, then at the end of round 5, whoever holds the most wins, with spice breaking the tie. So it's very simple in that sort of way. What's going to happen in each round? There'll be a storm that moves around the board, and each turn the storm will move a random amount and basically destroy everything in its path. And it's got this clever little mechanism where the regions that you're moving through are large regions. They can cross multiple storm sectors, but only specific sectors get swept out by the storm. There'll be a random spice card, which will put some spice on the board. I don't think I'm putting the right amount here, but it'll put this spice out, and that will will be something that the players will be fighting for. Because if you can get your forces onto a space with spice, then at the end of the round you gain it, and you can spend that to bring in more forces.
Now it's a correct one. 9.
Yep. You'll gain cards, so there's battle cards. This is the primary thing here. These are a sort of rock, paper, scissors type of mechanism in the fights. You can also purchase market cards. They have some more game-breaking types of effects. You get some forces back, and then it's shipping and movement. And that's where the core of the game is. Each player gets 1 turn, and you can only do 2 things. You can spend spice to put some of your forces into a new territory, and you can move any single group of your forces up to 3 regions. And then if you've ever got 2 players in the same region, at the end of all of that, you'll have a battle. The battle uses the classic battle wheel mechanism that I believe was introduced in the original Dune. Certainly modern gamers will be
Scythe.
most familiar with it from Scythe,
Yeah.
but I believe it really did come from here originally. You commit a number of forces that will definitely die in the battle. You commit a leader who has a number, and you can commit an attack and a defense battle card.
You have 4, usually, right?
Yeah, so the attack, the weapon cards, it might be something like poison, for example, and if the other player doesn't play the defense that protects against poison, then it will kill the other player's leader, and then it will just be a force-on-force battle. So tricky little things like that. Whoever wins the most kicks the other one out. They all go down to the... I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but they all go out of the game. Then you pick up your spice and you go again. So 5 rounds, very quick, very simple little battles. And kind of chaotic overall.
Chaotic in a way,
Yeah.
but I think also strategic. No?
I think it's more tactical than strategic. You don't have enough time to really build up a strategy. And certainly compared with the original Dune game, you know, it was a much longer game.
True that.
You had more time to understand the sorts of battle strategies that players were building up so you could counter them. This one, really, you're just getting your tactics at random from a deck, and so it's kind of, you know, the battles can be a bit...
That's actually true, yeah.
Yeah, the battles can be a bit fluky, but you can still be quite tactical about where the most key locations to go
It's a
are.
bit random. We play only some, like, we don't play a lot of war games, I believe. We play some, and in general, Tan usually wins games more than me. Don't stop, you're going to argue that, but let's just not argue for a moment. But usually in war game, I tend to have a little bit of winning ratio against you, I feel, maybe.
I'm not that great at war games, it's true.
Right. Like the Pearson games. Anyway, that's other games.
Yep.
So I know that just like, I'm pretty brutal. I'm just like, okay, he, just like attack. And then you do get pretty unlucky as well when you say... So when you say a little bit, you know, chaotic is probably true because the storm goes and then it wiped out at one stage your troop.
Yep.
Because they need to be hidden in certain regions so that they don't get destroyed by the storm.
Yep. There's also traitors, so at the start of the game, players will get a traitor card, and this will be either one of their own leaders, so they know that that leader can't possibly be a traitor.
That's familiar character.
It could be one of the other players' leaders. And if
Yes.
the player plays a leader and you have its traitor card, you can just instantly win that battle.
I got lucky at one stage. It's like, traitor! So we do, by the way, we should have probably mentioned this earlier. We did watch Dune, the movie, the new one. I feel like I've watched the old one many, many years ago. Have you?
No, I've never watched the older movie, and I'm not that familiar with the IP.
So why I'm saying this right now, because it does have the Dune team, so the spice is the currency, and also the player board is asymmetric, so they have their own powers and their own like different leaders' rank and so on, and even the number of leaders, and they have asymmetric powers that kind of like resembles the characters in the movie. So that's how it is, you know, connected to the movie. And obviously you see the pictures from the movies as well. Where is it? The battle one, I think. I imagine that would be like from the movies, or like this one maybe some of the characters there. I would imagine that would be from the movie. I can't remember exact in specific moment. Do we like the movie? I think it was okay. It was not, because it was a bit slow, I guess. Do you like the movie?
It was a slow film for me. It didn't excite me.
Yeah.
But what about this game? Did it
yeah.
excite you? Well,
that's the thing though. As I mentioned earlier, we didn't play a lot of that wargaming, but I think you're right. The clever mechanics is the moving storm. So you can mitigate, or you can try to see, oh, okay, so this is really close. You better hide, or you better push, or you know, there's this. I think I like the battle wheel, the battle mechanics where you need to, you know, commit how many forces and then put the leaders. I think for a war game, if you want something nice and quick and still feels like war game, then that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if you're very accustomed to the classic Dune game, I don't know if this is going to scratch any of your itches, but I think it is, for what it is, a quick war game. The battle wheel is a very smart way of resolving that sort of thing. It's also, it's rather than a die roll, the fact that you've got this, you're fighting against each other and you're making all the choices yourself, and you've got the reveal. It's quite a, it's a very nice
war game.
It fits with that sort of quick war game, and I think.
So if
I think it's I think it's always going to suffer in comparison to the game it was based on, but I think it does what it's trying to do very well.
I think it's a war game for the Euro gamers and Ameritrash gamers. Is that fair enough?
Perhaps.
So that's it. So what do you think? Have you played it, or you even have played the older version, the longer version? What do you think? Or maybe you have played this and you can compare. Let us know in the comments. On to the next game, Tarrant.
Yes.
Second Dune is House Secrets. Dune House Secrets.
Yes. So this particular game is an extension of the Detective: A Modern Crime board game.
A retheme. Yeah.
So it's that was released I think about 3 years ago now, and there've been a few different versions of that have used the same sort of engine. So this is the Dune version of that game. And it works in more or less the same sort of way. Now, we're not going to spend that long on this one because really it's not our sort of game. It's a game that involves, and like the original detective games, it involves reading a lot of text. It is supported by an app that brings you a lot of, or a website actually, which brings you a lot of information.
We haven't actually played Detective Modern game before. I've always wanted to play it. And when the Dunes arrived, like, I always want to play it.
Yeah, so you'll open up a website, it will start to give you the story, then you'll get to do encounters, and this time track tracks each encounter that you do, and each encounter involves finding the relevant number and reading all of the text. It may give you some choices at the end, which gives you other encounters that you can go to do. You may need to spend these resources to do them, or you may gain some resources. You may have to make some choices, which could involve flipping these over. They can be green or red. Green being good, red will drop you down on this sort of track. And basically you go through the deck, you go through as many story parts as you can until you run out of time. And when you run out of time, you go back to the app, you end the scenario, and you answer a question or two about the scenario, and it will lead you on to the next part.
So yes, so I probably, it's that sort of like story-based, story-driven is more my type of game than yours to begin with.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this is not really what I expected. I've just thought that it would be more, puzzle solving rather than kind of like, it has got sort of just a little bit. I don't feel like I watch, like as I said earlier, we watched Dune, but I don't feel that connected to the theme. What do you think?
Yeah, same for me. Not being very familiar with the IP, it was just a story to me. It wasn't a story I could connect with, and it wasn't a story that the game part of it didn't have that many thoughtful choices. So, yeah, if you know the IP more, it will likely appeal to you more. But yeah, really not for us.
I think even so, it's probably not as connected. So it's not like there's no big reveal, or some of the choices are a little bit random as well, I guess. But I think this is something that if you like modern detective and you love Dune, you're a big fan of Dune, maybe this is your thing. But if you're not familiar with Dune, you'll probably find a little bit, hard. Like some names will appear, and you probably just like a lot of names will appear that you're probably not familiar with, and it would probably might give you some disconnection to the whole story because there's a lot of names.
Yep. So that is Dune House Secrets.
Yes. Just by the way, let us know if you have played it and if you like it, or if you've played Detective Modern board games, and let me know if you even compare the both. Yeah, but I reckon it's, they can probably do, I guess they can do, I was expecting a little bit more like, ta-da, reveal sort of thing. But anyway, that's my thing, my thought. Last but not least, Dune Imperium Rise of X, the expansion. So we're going to give you like maybe a couple of sentences of overview of what Dune Imperium is and what the expansion brings and how it feels with the expansion.
Yes, so Dune Imperium, obviously this came out 1 or 2 years ago, it was a tight worker placement that meshed with a deck building engine.
This is the main board, by the way. We just like focus on this thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
With a tricky little combat mechanic where a lot of the points came from.
I do like that
and
combat.
some tech tracks where a lot of the points came from. What Rise of Ix brings is some new actions and some changes to the top of here. So it adds about 3 new non-modular mechanisms into the game. The major thing is that this section here covers up this section here. And it's going to change the nature. So at the start, without really adding new things, it changes the nature of how you can get some of the game's resources. Because you always had this action here to get 3 money. You could spend a bunch of spice to get money. And there was this action here that would give you 4 troops into your garrison.
This is gone.
This is gone.
Ooh, I like that one.
Hall of Oratory.
But that's okay. Yep.
Hall of Oratory is gone as well, and these 2 are gone. So these ones stay the same. So they're replaced with this new section here.
Smuggling, which is similar to that. This is to do with the tech tree, or like
with this track here, yes. So this icon here is moving your freighter. The freighter will be one of your discs, and you will, when you get this icon, you can advance it 1 step on here, or get the bonus and drop back down. Very simple. So it's all about chasing these icons, and it's one of your easiest ways of getting money. But as you can see here, it's also going to give a small dividend to all other players. So if you get 2 of these, up and down, 5 money and 1 to each other player.
You can get 1, another 1, and then when you get another 1, you can choose to get this and then drop all the way down. Sort of things. That's how it works.
So that's a major thing there. It changes. I guess it means that there's less obvious things to spend spice on. Spice is now really all about taking the actions and buying the new mechanism. So this is the first truly new thing, which is technology. So there's a new board that comes here, and there will be technology tiles on these spaces.
There'll be a stack of them, so with 1 at the top revealed.
Yes. And so when you get this icon, you can purchase technology for the amount of spice shown there. And this will come and it will give you some sort of ability. And this adds a lot more new things into the game. So here,
that's if you go here.
Yes. So here there's a new way of scoring a point at the end of the game. Here, this one you can flip over once per turn to discard a card and draw a card. So it helps you cycle your deck. It gives you a few more things that can help you with your
That is good.
with your deck building. Here's a bonus that gives you an immediate water and then water when you win conflicts. 2 coins of income, and you get to do some increases on the influence tracks.
When did it come out in our game?
This
is good.
We've only played it 2 players. There's 18 of these, and so
choose 2.
You won't see them all.
Oh, that's a once off. That's a once off. Choose 2, but then every round start you get 2 income.
Yep. Put cards that you get on top of your deck. A very classic deck building bonus. Flip this over for 4. Flip it over and spend 4 coins. So this is you get a point, and it gives you a good way of getting troops in. Here's another end game scoring one. So yeah, what this does here is gives you a lot more different ways of engine building, ways of managing your hand, and things like that.
I feel like battle's still very important.
Battles are important, and there's one further new mechanism that works with the battles, and that is this one here, the Dreadnought. And so when you get a Dreadnought...
It's a good segue to introduce the Dreadnought, isn't it?
Yes. We didn't even practice that.
Oh, yeah, truly, yes.
Okay, when you get a Dreadnought, each player has 2 Dreadnought pieces, and it goes into your garrison, or your conflict if it happens to be in a space with the conflict icons. And they work more or less like troops, except they are worth 3 strength instead of 2. Oops. 3 strength instead of 2. And the key thing with them is that if you do not win the conflict, you don't
Yes.
lose it like you do with your troops. You just retreat it to your garrison.
But if you win,
If you win, then before it goes back to your supply, it occupies one of these spaces, much like the banner bonus, and you can drop it on top of someone else's banner and control that for a round.
and then what happened after a round? Yes.
And then it's gone.
So yeah, I feel like it's a little bit hard. We didn't play a lot with that. It is like, I think there are cards maybe that has got some cards also come to the expansion.
Yeah, there are new leaders, new intrigue cards, new... I forget what the main deck of cards is called, but it's a whole bunch of new cards that work with these three new things.
I do like I do like the base game. I like engine build is deck building. So I like deck and pool building mechanics as always, and combined with a smart way of doing worker placement. So I already like the base game, and this new expansion is good. Like, I have to think about it. Okay, this is what I do. What I need to change is this one. I did say before, battle is still important, but there are other ways to try to win battles.
Yes.
Which is, this is good. This is bringing new troops to your garrisons. You go first. I mean, you go now.
I go now. Yeah. The funny thing with Dune Imperium, it's not something I say very often, but it's a game that I can see how well it's designed, but it frustrates me because I'm not very good at it. It can be an incredibly frustrating game.
But hang on, you won lots of Morse games.
No, I don't think I've won this game. I think I always struggle with this game.
Hang on, wait. In most game, you win most games, so that means that this is just a small percentage of that you didn't win, and then you get frustrated because you didn't win. Hello, let me win sometimes.
There's a lot.
It's okay.
There's a number of things in the game that can be
Yes.
frustrating. I think.
Yeah, I understand.
And so for me, feeling that I do like most of what the expansion brings here. This just is a different way to do things. That's fine. It doesn't change that much. But I enjoyed having some extra engine build type things, some permanent powers that I could go and chase.
That's correct. You get more of those.
I think I got 3 techs in the end.
Is it because of
played
worker
and-
placement, perhaps? I know you sometimes a little bit frustrated for worker placements that you can't really mitigate, so you just block.
I find it's more the cards, because in a deck builder you'll play 30 or 40 hands and the bad combos even out. But in this game, because you've got only 10 rounds, you're building your deck up, a bad round can really hurt quite a lot. So I like having these. I think these are really nice.
Good. Well, that's why you went there, but then you had to have water to get the extra cards. And I remember you went there a lot to get the extra worker and then get extra cards.
Yep. The other thing, I think, so these I enjoyed. The dreadnoughts, I think what the dreadnoughts bring, which are, I'm not going to say nice or not nice, but are definitely more forgiving, is the fact that you get them back if you don't win the battle.
Yeah.
And it could be such a... Especially if you have a bad engine of weaponry in the base game, you can do the most weapons that you have and still just get beaten down every round by the player who has a lot of swords on cards and has really optimized the deck that way. So it's really nice and a lot more forgiving to have this dreadnought come back and be able to use that.
I think that forgiving is the word for this experience. It's a bit more forgiving, and then there's just that track as well, and the fact that there's less rally troops type action. So this got blocked, so you just have to rely on this and summon the tank. It's good.
Yeah, I think it's always a thing. A lot of expansions will come along, and because they add new options, they tend to make things more forgiving. I think it's most expansions do that. I think it's very hard.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to make an expansion that makes a game tighter because when you add new things, it just invariably adds new options.
Yeah. For example, Tiny Towns because it's very brutal, the base game, and the expansion makes it a little bit more forgiving, like the things that you can modify. And I'm surprised because in general, Tarrant likes things more brutal. Like in general, is that right? Like, mainly? I feel like you do like it.
It can go either way, right? I always find a game is most rewarding if it is, if it's hard to achieve what you're trying to achieve.
Right.
But if it's too hard, it can be frustrating. So, and again, that will come down to how good I am at the game, no doubt.
What do you want?
And I know we've spoken with people who find that they thought the base game was completely firmly optimized and it was hard to do things, and then once you add these extra forgiving things that let people who didn't even work on their military come back with these dreadnoughts until they win one, and maybe they win it on the one that's worth 2 points, you know, it's not going to be for everyone. And I think this often it's very easy to agree between people on whether something makes it too forgiving or not forgiving enough. And I feel like this is a real on the fence one, depending on whom you ask.
And depending on how your strategy usually is.
Overall, I really like what the tech brings. I enjoyed playing around with those. I am neutral to what the dreadnoughts brought. And I think I slightly prefer this board to this board. I think it gives you a few more interesting options. And
Income is harder. Definitely harder.
Yeah.
And I tend to just like go for this one first, getting the third player marker, but then you ended up with less cards as well for battles and so on, and buying cards. So. And this one, that helps with buying cards.
No doubt.
Yeah, well, so at the end, what's the conclusion? We will play with the expansion.
I think I would. Well, yeah, I just said it there. I prefer this. I prefer the tech, and the dreadnoughts. I can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I can't take it or leave it because it's not modular. It has to all come in. But yeah, I like what it brings overall.
I'm happy with the expansion, so we'll just play with the expansion from now on.
Yes.
Unless when we introduce a new player and then they're like, it's too much. It's not that much, really.
It doesn't add that much
Yeah.
more. If you're teaching someone Dune Imperium to start with,
I mean, you don't even like bother explaining what these are. You
Yeah.
just like cover it with the new one.
if someone can play Dune Imperium the base, then all these things are going to be familiar and easy for them to pick up.
There you go. That's what we think. Have you played Dune Imperium, the base game? Have you played it with expansion? Which ones do you like? Let us know as well. We always like to hear what you think. And write in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I could. Anything else, Sarah?
No, that's all from me.
And that's all for us. Those are the 3 Dunes.
The 3 new Dunes.
The 3 new Dunes. So which one's your favorite? I think our favorite would be like naturally more of a Euro gamer. Yeah. I'm more a merry trash gamer more than you, I think. But yeah, this is probably our favorite.
Yeah, this is certainly
out of the 3 Dunes.
This is certainly my top of the 3. But yeah, anyone who knows the sorts of games that are in my top 5 each year, that's not a surprise to anyone.
That's fair. And so that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you find it helpful, if you want to say hi, if you want to say hi, please write in the comment section. If you find it helpful, it will be helpful if you could please smash that like button for us. Subscribe if you haven't actually known us, like we do other stuff as well. If you haven't seen any of our videos, we do how to play live later on the weekends, my show and so on. I'm also on Instagram, so find me there as well, and hopefully we will see you next time. Bye!